In this video, we will look at the database functions in Microsoft Excel. I've got a data that consists of 5 columns, and this is a dummy data. So let's assume that this is a cricket data, and it's been taken from a tournament like the Indian Premier League, IPL, or the Big Bash that happens in Australia. I don't have player names here, but I've just given random pseudo names as player 1, player 2, player 3. Then the next column is about matches that they've played in a particular tournament, the runs that they've scored, the country that they belong to, and the day when they played their first ever match. Okay, I would now like to find out what is the total number of runs scored by all the Indian players. Summation of all the runs by Indian players. So I can use the various, there are various ways of doing it, but I will use the database function called dsum to achieve this. And then we can move on to daverage. The dsum is a database function, then there is daverage, then there is dmax, dmin, dcount. Okay. All right, so first of all, what we will do is we will also use the name range concept here. So I select any one cell of my choice within the data, Control A. I'll just give this a name as, let's say, my data, enter. So the entire table has been given the name as my data, right? Now, what I will also do is, because I am looking for Indian players' summation of total runs, I'll just copy the criteria here. I'll say country, and I'll say India. The country is the header, which I'm simply copy pasting somewhere outside, and the requirement is also something that I'm copy pasting below the header. Yeah. So the yellow highlight is not really a compulsion, but just to highlight to the viewers, I am using the yellow highlight. Okay, so let's come somewhere here. I'll say equal to dsum tab. My database is the entire table. I can obviously go and select the entire table with my mouse or with my keyboard shortcuts. But since I've given a name to that table, I can just press F3, function 3, and it gives me a list of all the names that have been defined in the particular workbook. I can select that. So my data. Yep, and there you go. It quickly highlights my data in the same color. Yeah, so you know what is named as my data. Comma, field. I'm looking to do the summation in the runs column, so I will simply select the header. Remember, it's not required to select the we will not select the entire column of runs, just the header, only the header. Okay, comma, and the criteria is right here, so I'll select both these cells, the header as well as the required value. So I1 and I2 is my criteria. That's it. I can hit enter or control enter, and there you go. It comes up with the answer as 30,001. If you wish to verify this, I can simply apply a filter. So let's just do a filter on India, the country India, and then you've got the runs displayed there. I can simply select, and there you go. Near the battery icon, it comes up with 30,001 in the status bar. Okay, so the answer is correct. On similar lines, we can also do the daverage function in case I wish to calculate the average of runs scored by the Indian players. I can say equal to daverage. Yeah, DAV tab. Database is my data, so I can use the F3. If I do not wish to use the F3, I can simply start typing my and then tab. Field is the number of runs, E4, comma, and again the criteria will remain same. So if you've noticed, it's the function that has changed. The parameters have remained same, like my data, E4, and the criteria is I1 and I2. That's it. And see, it comes up with the answer as 5000.167. Let's quickly do a filter on India and verify this. If I select the entire thing, it comes up with 5000.16. Okay, let's remove the filter. Now, since we have seen the dsum and the daverage, let's also look at two more functions, actually three more functions. I would like to count how many Indian players were available in the data. So I can use dcount A. Again, my data will be my database, field will be E4. Now here, since I'm counting, it is perfectly okay to select in place of E4, I can select C4 or maybe D4 or E4. It's just counting actually, so I can select any of the headers. For the dsum and the daverage, it was required for me to select the respective header, but here it's completely all right to select any of the headers. So let's go with the first one, just to check, comma, and the criteria remains I1, I2, and there you go. It says there are six players in the data who are Indians. Okay, let's quickly do a filter again and check. So I come here, sorry, by mistake I applied the filter on Holland, but I can come here and choose India, and there you go. When you highlight it, says 6. Okay, let's remove the filter. Now I would like to find out what is the maximum number of runs scored by the Indian players, right? So I can come here and I can say equal to dmax, database again stays, right, comma, field, again I'm doing it from the runs column, so I can select E4. Had I been doing it from the matches column, then I would have gone for D4, but let's go with E4, comma, criteria again remains as I1, I2, and that's it. So 9248 is the highest total number of runs throughout the tournament scored by any Indian player. Let's verify this. So I come here, India, I can just filter on India, and if you look at the total runs column, I mean total runs scored by any player of India, the highest is the figure that is 9248. There you go. Right, so this is just to verify, yeah, and the 9248 is the correct answer. On similar lines, I can do dmin. My data will be the database, field again will be runs, comma, and criteria is E1, E2. The lowest is 2041. Yeah, so I can use the database functions to do my important calculations. Remember, the database functions will have in the database functions, the criteria will have to be separately written down somewhere outside the data.